It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of Where You Live with Gene and Tony. It's so good to have you with us. Folks, we have a hotline. We've been talking about some great stories here, and we know that our listeners every week have got comments to make.
Most of our listeners have opinions.
Yes.
We've learned that.
We even have them from time to time as well. And if you would like to have your comment aired on next week's show, or have us discuss a question, maybe something else that you've been wondering about, give us a call.
Yep, our hotline number is 952-224-2668.
Yep.
Just leave us a message.
And if you're just joining us at the end of last hour, we began introducing the story out of Wareham, Massachusetts. A homeowners association is concerned with one of their members renting out their home to a group home, a halfway home, to a corporation and not a primary residence. And there is a lawsuit that is ensued. And so we want to welcome on the lines with us here this afternoon one of the trustees for the Homeowners Association. We have Mr. Sean Murphy. Hello, Sean.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
Hello.
Now, you were on the line here while we were kind of framing the story. Did we get it right, or is there anything we forgot here in this story?
No, I mean, it's the gist of it, the basic story. There's a couple things. I mean, the Dover Amendment, of which they operate, specifically states that it does not supersede HOA restrictions and covenants as well.
Interesting.
So the Dover Amendment exempts you from zoning bylaws.
So let's talk about it, because that's something that's different than, we don't have that here in Minnesota. But talk to us a little bit about this Dover Amendment, because that's what this group is kind of hanging their hat on. Specifically, what is the Dover Amendment?
It's basically an amendment by the state of Massachusetts that would allow different companies, organizations to use residential property for commercial use and exempt them from zoning bylaws from the state.
Okay.
And they have to be educational, agricultural, religious reasons.
Okay.
So this organization has used that Dover Amendment to slide in.
Yeah. Because they're saying they're an educational institution, and they seem to be saying that zoning laws are the same thing as the HOA restrictions.
They do say that, but it's completely different, and that's exactly what they're doing.
And I find... Go ahead, sorry.
I'm sorry. They're using it for educational purposes, but they do not provide the educational training at that home. They take their clientele and bust them out to it. So there's no education going on. I mean, they say, well, we teach them life skills like, how to cook and how to clean. Well, my wife does that.
Yeah.
Does that make me a teacher?
Yeah.
Should I show somebody how to make a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Does that qualify me for teaching a life skill?
It was really interesting. You said that the Dover Amendment is specific about homeowner associations. And what did it say?
It does not supersede HOA restrictions or covenants.
Okay. Was not reported in the story we read.
Let me ask, and maybe you don't know the reason why, Sean, but why was something like the Dover Amendment so important that it had to be added? What was taking place, do you think, specifically to educational, agricultural, and religious institutions that needed to have
this protection?
Yeah, this protection and ability to go outside of zoning ordinances.
I really couldn't tell you. My only guess would be that a lot of people were probably opposed to different religious groups, moving in and practicing out of a house or
Sure.
any other kind of facility
Sure.
or any kind of, agriculture where you farm, aqueducts and everything else. But, that would be my only
Yeah. But it
assumption.
sounds like this amendment really doesn't support their argument in this petition.
No, it does not, especially when the owner he is a contractor. He's not a group home. He's not licensed. He's not certified. He's not a physician. He buys homes, leases them to this organization, and makes a profit.
Interesting. So he was an investor that specifically bought the home for this purpose.
Oh, exactly. I mean, and he chooses these houses specifically because, one, it's tied into town water and town sewer, so
Okay.
it doesn't have a septic. He's not limited to the amount of bathrooms or bedrooms.
Okay, all right.
Which is, that's a huge deal. So he looks at these houses and he tries to get in, buy it, do the construction that he needs to do to get the lease,
Okay.
and then lease it out so that way the corporation is protected by the Dover Amendment with the state.
Now, you had, I suppose the association had no idea that this was his goal or intention when he purchased this home.
None.
Yeah.
And so, and I suppose, now, is a homeowner required to go to the association, to the board, to show that there's been a background screening of the people that are approved,
Well,
or
before we
a
go,
lease and all of that type of
I
thing?
guess I'd like to ask first is
Okay.
what is the Homeowners Association's concern about this group home?
The concern is not about the group home. The concern is that before he started construction, he was supposed to get approval from the HOA.
I see.
Our restrictions state specifically any additions or remodeling
Okay.
has to be approved by us because we want to keep the value of everybody's home
Sure.
up.
Sure.
And there was some major renovation that we're talking about here for this
what
home,
did he
right?
do? What did he do?
3 bedrooms, an office. He converted a 2-car garage into more living space. So I mean, it wasn't just just a simple one-room
Sure.
addition. It was major construction.
Sure. And he didn't get prior approval from the Homeowners Association.
No.
Okay. All right.
And so all of this has a lot of concern for the association. You have talk about for a moment about parking restrictions. He took 2 garage stalls, took off-street parking, created for living space, probably to maximize what he could get for rent and the people in this home. But that presents a problem to the association for parking, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, because there is no overnight parking allowed on the street, which is also in the restriction and covenants. Our road is actually a lot less wider than normal roads.
That's
Because
typical here, too.
And
because
so,
of our
yeah,
clustered belt, so emergency vehicles would have a hard time getting down
Right.
there as well,
Right.
especially in the snow. I mean, we live up here in Northeast, and
Hey,
it's getting that time where the plow trucks are coming through.
and we relate to
Yeah.
that.
And so, how many cars at any one given time is generally surrounding this home?
Right now, there's only about 4 to 6, but that could go from all the way up to 8.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a lot.
Do you
4
have
or
do you
6
have
is a lot.
do you have line of sight from your home to where this home in question is?
I do not.
You do not. Okay.
I live on the same side of the road, but I live 3 houses down, so I really can't see. And there's a common area in there as well.
We just had a story talking about a homeowner in an association who replaced the brick wall in front of his patio home with a wrought iron fence, and he didn't go through the process with the Architectural Control Committee. So you are saying this is similar in that the HOA's objection is that he did not disclose what he was going to do with construction in the home. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Let me ask you, Sean. Now, when we're dealing with some of the issues here, it's more than just the association. This gentleman did not go to the association for prior approvals, as they should have. But this whole process, in your understanding, kind of was circumvented and sort of short-circuited when it came to the city and how they looked at it, too. They kind of pushed things through as well, didn't they?
Yes, they did. The town, at the building inspector, every home, every dwelling has a place card. And on that card has a different, square footage of the house, what the lot size is, and everything else. And there's also a block in there that says, is it part of a HOA? Because the town required our neighborhood to have an HOA to be accepted by the town to get the zoning board approval for the cluster development of the neighborhood.
Okay.
So the building inspector issued this permit not looking at the card, and if he did look at the card, he decided not to look at the HOA saying, oh, they have an HOA. Now, the town, in some of the restrictions and the covenants that we actually have in the HOA are straight from the town zoning bylaws, where you can't run a business, you can't run a commercial company or anything like that. So he just overlooked it, issued the permit, not asking, what are you doing all this renovation for?
Right.
Yeah, you've got some other concerns that I want our listeners to hear about here too. But Sean, we need to take a quick break. Can you stay with us over into one more segment?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that would be great, folks. We're talking to Sean Murphy, who's a trustee for the Beaver Meadows Homeowner Association, in this case that they are fighting for a group home that's operating out of the homeowner association. We're going to take a break, and we're going to hear more from Sean after these messages.